We've been married for 8 years and together for 10 years. We were together before anything else when we met in college. We thought we had a special and beautiful bond because of that, but it turned out I was the only one who thought that. My spouse began working for a fresh company some time ago. At first it was hard for her to fit in because she's always been shy, but with my help, she made friends with a group of girls, some of whom were single, divorced, or dating but not married. I was happy that she had made friends at first, but then she started going to parties, drinks, or whatever her friends had planned. She changed how she behaved, and I tried to talk to her about it, but I didn't want to put any limits on her. It started to affect the way we were making love. My wife didn't like to start a relationship, but because she went out so much, she was often too tired or not in the mood. In the end, her company hired a new boss who my wife and her friends really liked. She first talked about him briefly, but then she started to talk about how he dealt with problems that didn't seem to be connected to work. When I asked her about her interest in this guy, she brushed off my worries. She even asked if I felt bad that I hadn't dated more women. I told her that she was all I ever needed. I'm sure I saw a sad look in her eyes, but she quickly changed the subject. She brought up open weddings as a way to make our marriage more interesting. I was shocked because my wife has never been this way, and she's not even very open about her sexuality. At first I had said no. I asked if this had anything to do with the new boss, and she said it didn't. Instead, she said she thought she had missed out on something, but she didn't want to lose me, so this was the better choice. I asked her if she was playing with fire, but then I reluctantly and stupidly agreed. So we made some ground rules. The most important one was that no one else could sleep in our house. After a year, my wife goes on dates in one night, stands with that boss. And then, out of the blue, she starts dating him. On the other hand, I went on a few dates but never had a one-night stand because I thought they were wrong. My wife would ask me if I was okay, but she wouldn't change how she was acting. I realized at some point that the love I had for her, the wonderful pure innocence of marriage, was gone, and it was killing me inside. I went on a date with a lovely woman who had moved to the US from South Korea. The conversation was easy. Her wit was as quick as a whip crack, and her smile could make anyone forget about their problems. Of course, this led to more dates until we were really close. I've had sex with no one else like I did with this woman. I never thought a woman could be so kind and make you feel so wanted. At first, my wife thought it was cute, but after a few months, she started to wonder about my relationship with my boyfriend. She came up with the idea, and she even knew the boss I was worried about, so I quickly told everyone. She didn't say anything, even though it looked like she wanted to. She began getting home early to clean the house and make dinner for me as a treat. She also began bringing me food at work and making out with me in the bedroom. In all honesty, I would have been thrilled if she hadn't told me about our marriage, which I share blame for. When she tried to get close to me, I pretty much just got it over with. I died for my wife, and I could tell she did too. I asked her what had changed and what had caused this change in her. The response I got was that she wants to show me that she loves me and is happy with me. I didn't mean to laugh out loud, but I did. I asked her about her few friends, her boyfriend who works for her boss, and her one-night stands. That day she didn't answer. Instead, she cried herself to sleep. When I get home the next day, she's already there waiting for me. She told me she wants to split up with me. What happened was a huge mistake, and I'm sorry about it all. I want us to be the center of our relationship again. I told her to be honest with me and tell me what started all of this. I was shocked to learn that her sexually active friends came up with the idea, and when her manager saw it, he surprisingly supported her way of life and told my wife to live her life freely. It looks like it turned into an emotional event. But the marriage didn't become sexual until it was made public. That really makes things better. She said it was like being drunk and driving a fast car. It was fun and exciting, but she can't make the choice anymore because it costs too much. Actually, she knows that she didn't need to compare us to anyone else, and that what we had was truly unique and special. But she still feels like she ended our marriage and any chance of having a life together. She started crying in front of me when I told her I might never see her as my wife again. She cried, so I just held her and kept quiet. She fell asleep in my arms on the couch. After that, she quit her job, cut ties with all of her friends and her boss, and even told me she was ready to spend the rest of her life making things right with me and working hard to be considered a wife. But I haven't stopped talking to my lover. Plain and simple, my partner makes me feel like a guy, like I can take on the world. This is something my wife hasn't done in a long time. I really don't know what to do here. While I'd love to feel that special way again, my lover saved me when I was at my worst. Help me, please. I almost forgot to say that. Our first marriage counseling session is coming up soon. I'm not sure what will happen next. The therapist seemed nice and knowledgeable. It looked like she was fair and willing to help. And even though it was our first meeting, my wife seems to have used the chance to explain everything. She said that this group of friends made her wonder if she had missed her chance because she was committed to her first lover and had never been with anyone else. That she didn't have as many adventures as some of these women who seem to be great. Keep in mind that none of them are married and some of them are divorced. Because they have different ideas, the therapist told us that this can and often does hurt a marriage. My wife seemed to agree, and then she said that when her new boss approached her, some of her friends told her to use the chance to learn more about herself. She says she felt bad, so she didn't do anything physical until one of the divorced women suggested an open marriage as a way out, telling her that it makes some pairs stronger. She says she finally got me to agree to the marriage, but it wasn't easy. Then her journey started, and sparkling, but lacked real substance. Not the kind we've built up over the years, and she started to wonder why she was doing it. She told me she could see the pain in my eyes, but she told herself it was just an experience. She said she could never forgive herself for what she did. She had the chance to have a great time. What was going on didn't hit her until she felt something different about me. She thought that because we went on dates, I would slowly come to understand and accept her situation. Everything changed, though, when my sweetheart started showing up more often in my life. It looked like I started to smile again for no reason, and my eyes would light up whenever I got a text message or happily left the room to answer the phone. She told them that she felt a pit in her stomach right away and started having panic attacks often for no reason. She asked her friends for advice again, but they told her it was normal to feel that way during the trip. But when the divorced friend who had suggested it in the first place said, "It looks like his lover makes him happy," she realized how true it all was. It was very possible that he was happy with someone other than his wife, which almost made her pass out. They told her she shouldn't have gotten married in the first place if she couldn't handle things. She knew how silly everything was and begged them to help her win me back. She knew right away that these people were bad for our marriage and the life we had built together, so she has been doing everything she can to get me back. I didn't say much, but I did tell the counselor about my problem with my boyfriend still in the picture. The counselor told me that we could never find an answer as long as my boyfriend was still in the picture and suggested that we meet again after tomorrow. The counselor said it was unusual for someone to stay with her for so long and gave the impression that any storm could be handled. I think she really wants us to be successful like her other clients. I'm sorry this post is so long, but I thought I should give a full report. I'm still not sure how to link posts, and I want to thank everyone who has gotten in touch. Sorry I couldn't answer all of your messages, whether they came in my email or in the post. Anyway, here's what we know so far. Many thanks for your continued help. It's been a lot like an episode of Jerry Springer. I now live in a flat that my brother owns and paid a ridiculously low rent for. I said no to his offer to let me stay for free because he owns houses. Here are some things I've learned about my wife's behavior and some scary facts about how she runs her business. I asked some of the same questions in our second therapy session that some Redditors did. 1. If she knew for sure that nothing physical happened before they got married. She looked at the ground and begged me not to make her talk. She said that if she told us it would ruin everything, but when pushed, she finally said that they touched themselves in front of each other. Because they weren't touching, this jerk told her it wasn't cheating because they were just looking at each other's full beauty. I was shocked, and she started shaking and hyperventilating while she screamed and said she was sorry. Snot was coming out of her nose. Even the counselor was shocked at this point, wore a look of shock on their face. My wife got on her knees, hugged my legs, and told me she was sorry. 2. He then changed her mind, so I asked her what it was. She said that his behavior towards her changed when she stopped being a part of the group as a whole. Then, as she was leaving a meeting one evening, she walked by his office and heard him talking about her with another male friend. He said that getting her was so easy that it was crazy, and that she was live proof that you can't trust quiet people. When his coworker asked him if he liked her, he said she was a great escape, and that he had no plans to break up with his girlfriend, so he could get it off his chest, he said. His girlfriend was the only person who had ever understood him, and he didn't want to break up with her. He also told me he felt bad for me. But if you sleep, you lose. At the time, my wife killed herself because she saw that this man saw her as nothing more than a piece of meat, and because she had set me up for a cheap thrill. She said that she quit her job and threw up in the parking lot. It was her first thought, what have I done? She also said, please forgive me, I am deeply sorry. 3. After that, I asked her if she loved him and when she stopped loving me. She cried, looked me in the eye, and told me she would always love me, which made things even worse. She also said he was just different. She thought that was love, but now she knows she was wrong. She grabbed my arm with a shocking amount of force and told me she knows she did something wrong but misses us and the way we were together before everything happened. We should go our separate ways and start over. Just the two of us, like it was meant to be. After that, I told her it wasn't fair to my partner, and that I needed some time alone to process everything. It looked like she was having a temper fit when she heard those things. She started to cry harder and mumble things that no one could understand. I felt like I was going to disappear as she held on to me. It took both the counselor and I a while to calm her down. The counselor told her that maybe taking some time apart would help us get better. I wish I could end this report here. But I had to start packing as soon as we got home. From her PC, my wife got a video call. A person she used to know was crying. It turned out that after my wife left, this friend and the manager started dating, but she had a pregnancy scare, which made him act like Dr. Jekyll. It was even worse that she had a boyfriend with whom she seemed to see a future. The only reason she had a fling was because she was interested in it. It's funny that it seems to be a trend. Her boyfriend found out when he saw an email in which she and the manager talked about the chance of her being pregnant. The manager then accused her of baby trapping him. He did leave her, of course, and the reason she called her was because she thought my wife had saved our marriage and was desperately looking for help. I made a left turn and have been in the flat since. Change 3. The strange things my wife did and how they made us feel. There have been some events so far, and I'm still determined to move forward. To begin, I want to thank everyone who got in touch with me and offered either good advice, a similar life story, or just a listening ear. It means a lot. There's been a lot going on. There was a real pregnancy scare with the former friend, but she lost the baby because she was so stressed out about losing her boyfriend and being embarrassed by the affair. She went crazy and caused a lot of trouble for the boss. She put him in touch with his fiancée and all of the top managers. It was possible for me to find his fiancée on Facebook, was interested, and this woman is pretty much the perfect example of a pretty little town girl. Her description says that she is a teacher for students with special needs and that she loves being at home with her family. When I first saw him, I thought, what the hell is he doing messing around with other women when he has her at home? To be honest, I don't understand why men like him end up with women like her. The previous friend did get in touch with me. She asked me to tell her what happened because she was gathering proof against him. She would have liked to do it in person, though. Both she and I had already had our COVID tests. I agreed. I knew she was hurt as soon as I saw her face. There were dark circles under her eyes and a red iris, which made it clear that she hadn't slept and was thinking too much. She thanked me for accepting to meet with her, and said she was sorry for being a part of my wife's adventure right away. It turns out she talked to my wife again. That's when she found out I had moved out. Why did she want to meet in person? Because she didn't want to pass the blame and wanted to take responsibility. I told her I appreciated her hard work but wondered why she would go to such lengths. She said losing a child and the love of her life had completely changed who she was. She said she feels sick every time she looks in the mirror and can't sleep because all she sees is her ex's face the day he found out. It was clear that this woman hated herself, and the meeting could have been a way to punish her. She tells me that because getting to know your coworkers outside of work is against the rules, and especially since he was in a position of power, he will probably be fired and maybe even banned from the industry altogether. She knows that the same could be said about her too, and she's okay with that. After hearing my side of the story, she left and said sorry again. I planned to get some things from the old house at a time when I didn't think my wife would be there. Even though she shouldn't have been there, I was shocked to see that she had many of our wedding pictures out on the coffee table and was staring at them. I could tell she was crying when she saw me. I gently pushed her away when she tried to hug me. I said I wasn't hungry and wouldn't be long. I just needed a few things, so she didn't offer me food. She told me she had something to show me before I could start. She turned on her phone and showed me a mean message from her old boss that she got 2 days ago. Because she had stopped his old number, it came from a different one. He was very angry that my wife helped her ex-friend tell all the right people about him. She said Chump Lady and marriage builders gave her the idea. She thought that by telling us the truth, she was changing the way it affected us and giving us a chance. I told her that it wouldn't change our relationship, even though I was glad she was brave enough to do it. I also told her that I would no longer be counseling couples, but that we would instead be counseling separately. This made her softly cry. And she said she understood. I know I should be happy about what was done or angry that it took so long. But I don't feel anything for her. This doesn't happen very often, which is why I want to talk about it in individual counseling instead of married counseling. To be safe, my brother also suggested that I see a divorce lawyer. Right now, I'm not ready to fight for this marriage, and it looks like my wife can tell. Before I left, she tried to get close to me, but I said no. When I said no, she got angry and asked what my boyfriend does for me that she can't. What can the lover give that the wife can't? Her voice was so loud that the neighbors must have heard her. She told me that she, as my wife, would do anything I asked. I shook my head and told her that our marriage was over if she still couldn't tell after everything that had happened. Wow. Your wife has really started to understand how her actions affect others. As sad as it is, she would give anything to go back in time and not make the same bad choices. But that's not how things work. You can be with someone better if she works on herself, but not with you because she messed up this life already. You can be sure that she will always remember you and feel bad about what she did. That's more than many of us got from our mistakes. Have a good time.